Good afternoon, Zimbabwe. Greetings to all of you watching us from all over the world. Welcome to Zimbabwe Daily. My name is Yvonne Muchaka, and this is Frank Talk. Today, we are talking proportional representation. Are we ever going to be able to achieve 50-50 50-50 gender parity in our political landscape, business landscape, any other landscape that you can think of? Because if politically we're not getting it right, we will not be able to get it right in any other facet. Thank you so much for joining me as we have this conversation. And I'm excited to introduce to you my panel of guests who are going to help me dissect this topic. I'm going to ask each one of them to introduce themselves. I'll start with the men. And not because I think men should start, but because I think they are on the other side today. So, Comrade Tanaka, please introduce yourself to Zimbabwe.
Okay, thank you, Yvonne. I think I'm very audible.
Yes, we can hear you.
Revolutionary salutations to the citizens of Zimbabwe and comrades and friends. I am a student activist, political activist, and political leader in the making. I'm an aspiring political leader. My name is Tanaka Sakazo, and today I'll be representing the youths in our discussion proportional representation, how we can achieve proportional representation in Zimbabwe. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tanaka. So Tanaka reached out to me and said, are we able to have such conversations? And I said, Zimbabwe Daily is a platform for all of us. It's a platform for Zimbabweans to express themselves. So welcome, Tanaka. Tanaka mobilized all the guests that we have in our studio today. And we are having this conversation thanks to you, Tanaka. So in other words, if you feel there's a conversation that must be held on Zimbabwe Daily, feel free to contact the producers and we'll be able to bring the program to you. I'll come to Comrade N. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you so much for inviting me. I am excited to be on this platform. My name is Anne-Marie Aquila Langeveld, and I am a ZPP spokesperson. But as well as representing ZPP, I am going to be representing myself as a woman and adding an element of, yes, there's politics, but there's also the opinion from the other side that's not in politics yet. What can we do to get there? So thank you for inviting us. Tanaka, well done. This is what Zimbabwe needs. Zimbabwe needs people to be able to come to the table and make these discussions. So thank you so much for having me on your show.
Excellent. Thank you, Comrade Mary. We come to you, Leader Bubs. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Comrade Yvonne. How are you? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, viewers and listeners. My name is Barbara Gwangwara Tanyanyiwa. I'm the spokesperson for the Women's Assembly of Women in the MDC Alliance, led by Advocate Nelson Chamisa. I'm also a gender specialist and a sociologist. I would also want to thank Tanaka for bringing this hot issue, a very contemporary issue. You know, when the youth, most particularly men, when they come with such topics, it shows us, Yvonne, that we have new men in the house.
Yes.
We have men that are gender sensitive. Would want to thank Tanaka for bringing up such a very, very pertinent issue. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Leader Babs. Over to you, Comrade Tsinengam.
Well, thank you, Yvonne. I think to start with, I would also want to thank my brother Tanaka for reaching out to me and inviting me to be part of this panel discussing about proportional representation and gender parity. My name is Godfrey Tsenengamu. Many of you would be knowing me from where I used to belong to in ZANU-PF, but I'm no longer there. I'm a former member in that party where I was a political commissar of the Youth League, and I'm now leading an economic empowerment movement of the indigenous people of Zimbabwe, which we have called the Front for Economic Emancipation in Zimbabwe, which houses two specialized units: the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Citizens Task Force and the National Affirmative Action Assembly of Zimbabwe. On this matter will be my personal views and those coming from my experience, and also speaking from what I'm going through especially at the National Affirmative Action Assembly of Zimbabwe, where we are trying to push an economic empowerment agenda for all of the people. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Comrade Tsenengam. I'm sure you bring in a wealth of understanding of both worlds. So I see we have another guest who is coming on board. Tanaka, can you kindly send him a message that he should activate his mic and his video so that we can allow him into the studio? But this conversation will continue. We are talking proportional representation. Now, what does that mean? We know that the amendment number 2 has been allowed to pass through the lower house. It is now being debated in Senate, and if it's most likely that it's going to sail through. Now, we are particularly interested in this conversation on the aspect of the proportional representation. What does this mean to the women? What does it mean to you? What does proportional representation mean in the first place? And did it achieve what it was supposed to achieve in the previous 2 terms? And what is the purpose of extending the period into the next electoral term? So this is what we intend to find out from this particular conversation. If you're just joining us, this is Zimbabwe Daily, and we are on Frank Talk, talking proportional representation. I'll start with you, Tanaka. What prompted you to then say this is an issue of interest? What do you understand by proportional representation?
All right. Thank you, Yvonne, for the opportunity to speak to the citizens of Zimbabwe. So, what necessitated this discussion is, let me say, we have realized that in the political system of Zimbabwe, there is no proportional representation. There are other groups which are recognized.
All right, so we seem to have lost Tanaka there, but all the same, the conversation continues. I'll come to our spokesperson from the ZPP, Comrade Aiden. What do you understand by proportional representation?
Well, proportional representation, I like everything to be divided. So proportional is just a segment. It's like a proportion. It's a segment of a whole. Representation is who is there that is representing the entire Zimbabwe. We realize that with our government, we have mainly men. That is not proportional representation, because there are women, there are disabled people, there are many other genders that are out there. And so proportional representation is almost non-existent in Zimbabwe. And ladies, especially, perhaps Barbara can even add that ladies, we are not proportional in that sphere. There are not enough women that are standing up, for sociology, for sociological aspect. What do we want Zimbabwe to be like? How do we want Zimbabwe to proceed? We know Zimbabwe has to proceed with 50-50. So women, know what that means to yourselves. Reassess, recognize that you are needed, realize that you are valued, and come and reclaim this representation that we are supposed to be taking a part of. Because if we don't, the Constitution is there to guide us. It leads us down a path that is equal for everybody. and it will be presented as an equal platform. It's up to us to now take upon that equal platform and say, this has been made for all Zimbabweans, not just a select few, and not based on color as well. As a mixed person, I find that we're going backwards. We're going backwards because we have this black and white divide. And I'm like, but we are all mixed people. All of us are mixed people. We just do not realize that. But until we realize and recognize our value, what we can put to the table, what can we do? What can women do? Women can do a lot. And we know that if men do not recognize that they have tried and they have failed, why? Why is it that we have a government that is not able to? There's no democracy. You can see that. If things are not working according to the Constitution, it's not a democracy anymore. But it's up to us. And this is when I'm just like, women, we need to wake up and realize our full potential. I know it's hard because everything is just like the system that is rigged. I did some investigations and I was like, oh, let me go a little bit further into this and see how deep this proportional representation goes. Now, I went to a girls' school, Mutare Girls High, and for A levels, the girls didn't have economics and accounts. It was like every other year. But the boys' school, the boys had economics, accounts. They had all the business aspect of building a nation.
Right.
And I realized, wow, even me with my fantastic education, I was still on the back foot in comparison to the boys. As in, when I left level upper six, any boy that has left upper six from the boys' school has more of an advantage based on the education that they have been given. So women, we have been disadvantaged all the way back, even down to our education. So I can understand that it's not normal for us to be like, hey, that's what I want to do. I want to be there. I want to be telling these people, do your jobs properly. What do you want? I am that type of person. What do you want? Show me. Where's the demand? Give me the demand. I'll supply it for you. But without women, we can't have that. We've seen, and I spoke to my director yesterday and I said, hey, director, sometimes I don't know how to go because mixed race, you've seen it. Even sociology, Barbara will say, when you study sociology, you come out of the box and you see things differently. I said, hey, for me, I said, how do I go about this? I said, do I go full force with myself as an independent woman, or do I go representing ZPP? And he said to me, Anne-Marie, I want you to be truthful, I want you to be honest, and I want you to be transparent. And he used these words specifically for me. And I will even say them because some people, they are a little bit sentimental when it comes to words. He said to me, Anne-Marie, I want you to go there and be as truthful and as honest about, especially men and our failures. So I said, hey, are you sure, Jason? He said, yes. He said, as a man, he says, I am telling you right now that I have failed as well. And I know that I'm not qualified enough to be in that position. I am a supporting role. But I will feed, and he does. He feeds we have fantastic men inside ZPP, and they encourage us every single day. There is no such thing as you opening your mouth, you can't speak. And even when we disagree, we have these conversations where someone will say something and we'll be like, but if you think of it a different way, forget what people are saying online, and think of the reason behind you posting that. It's not the context for other people to take on. I said it's for our context to dictate what it is that we are speaking about. So proportional representation, it's not there. It's not there because suppression, it's just unbelievable. And for me, when I did the research, I was just like all the way back to education. I hadn't really thought of it like that. But I was like, wow, Zimbabwe, we have a job to do. Tanaka, you have started fantastically because you've highlighted there is disparaging differences. There's no proportional representation. And this is something that we really, 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 really need. And that's why I said to Lady Barbara as well earlier, I said, oh, do you know what? We thank you that you've persevered so much, because a lot of women have not wanted to be in that position. But
Right.
with you being there, it's like wings. You are guiding us others that are like, Anatete, we are coming in late to this party here, this celebration that we're supposed to be. It's supposed to be a celebration. Having a
Right,
good
comrade, I'll have
government.
to come in there. I'll have to come in there. You raise some really fundamental issues about how proportional representation shouldn't just be looked at from a perspective of politics, but from everything,
Yes,
education,
everything.
business, and all the other sectors that are surrounding us. So unless and until we make sure there's gender mainstreaming in all those facets, we are never
Yes,
going to achieve 50-50. Thank you so much.
correct.
I'll come to you, Leader Barbara. Proportional representation is how it came on board in Zimbabwe. What did it even mean, and did it achieve anything?
Yes. Thank you so much, Yvonne. I don't know whether I'm clear. Someone tried to phone me and my volume has just been reduced. Am I clear?
I can hear you well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. To start with, the way the word proportional itself, it means it's a corresponding in size or amount to something else. So the proportional representation, it's anything that has to be represented, that has to be equally or equally shared or equally represented. So the proportional representation that you are speaking about today, those are 60 seats that were accorded to women, 6 per province, was to me, Yvonne, it was just a piecemeal. Being something that came into effect after the 2013 constitution making process, women saw it fit that they were excluded in decision-making positions, especially in the parliament. And so the 60% was supposed to balance the amount or the number of women that were there in parliament. Not to say they were it was then the finality of everything, and not maybe not giving not considering women on not considering women also on constituencies. So the coming of these 60 seats, Yvonne, it gave people in understanding to say women, these seats are for women. Therefore, they cannot be seen taking constituencies because they've already got their 60 seats. But at the same time, the 60 seats cannot amount to proportional representation in parliament. Take, for instance, 210 seats. What it then means is 105 years to be women, 105 years to be men. But we know how these seats come into being. It's a political party. So it's up to those political parties to show their gender sensitivity, to show that women are equal. Women have got that a right to be represented equal as men. How did this come about, Yvonne? It started with the Beijing Declaration of 1995, where there is a clause which says the measures were to be taken, including where appropriate, in electoral systems that encourage political parties to integrate women in elective public positions in the same proportion and the same levels as men. That was Beijing, and it was adopted by so many countries, including Zimbabwe. And also the SADC declaration on gender also said the member states, they have to ensure the equal representation of men and women in the decision making of member states. So it's speaking of men and women. There's no way it's being said men. So it's like it has to be equal. So anything that is there, anything that is on the table, it has to be shared 50-50. The how part of it, then I think we are going to discuss this, Yvonne. And also our constitution, Yvonne, section 17, subsection 1 and subsection B, it enjoins the government to ensure that women constitute at least half the membership of all governmental bodies established under the constitution. So what it means, every body that is established under the constitution, it has to have a 50-50, meaning to say everything that is in that constitution, everybody, be it even the ZEC, be it the commissions, be it even the parliament, because it's there, everything that is there in the constitution, as long as it's a body, it has to constitute the 50-50 proportional representation. So we are having this extension of, by the way, the 60 seats were only for 2 terms. And I will tell you why, Yvonne, because it was said women had no resources to contest in constituencies. So what then happens? It was then said, if a woman is chosen to be on proportional representation basis for a 1 term, that woman should be able to take a constituency because she now has got resources. But tell you what, it did not happen. Why? Because some men still didn't want to give up the constituencies and saying, 66 zenyu, as if those 60 seats are for every political party, but not knowing that the 60 seats are only 6 per province. So there's still that kudonzerana kuripo to say that women cannot occupy the constituencies because they are said to be having those 60 seats. So the extension, Yvonne, those that are pushing for this extension are men that don't want to recognize the 50-50 representation, because it's there in the constitution. Now they are supporting this because they think they are doing women a favor. They think the women should just be given those 60 seats and then keep quiet. It's like sweet. So
Right.
it's we are.
Senengami is no longer in the stream. I would have wanted him to respond to what you're saying, Leda Babla, where you're saying the men do not want to give the women space. But there is an argument that some of our viewers and followers on Facebook have said women are their own downfall, because when a woman stands up, and if we are to look at women being the majority, women will not support another woman at the behest of man. They would rather vote for a man than vote for a woman. And especially now with all the political polarity that we see. So if Yvonne throws her name into the fold because she is not part of ZANU-PF, she's not part of MDCT, she's not part of ZPP, she's not part of MDCA, no one is going to vote for her. So how do we expect women to take on these roles when the fellow women do not support each other? Babs, or any one of you can respond to that.
Okay. Let me try and answer that one, Yvonne. Our electoral system does not allow what you are saying. It's like we are still embodied in that electoral system which says political parties they bring their chosen their selected members of, be it parliament, be it councillors. So if you try and stand as an independent, it then becomes a problem, Yvonne, to say you want to be an independent, and where are you going to report back to? Because the electoral system allows the political parties to second members of parliament, or maybe to second councillors. So I think there we need to change our electoral system if we want that system to work, Yvonne, like maybe adopt the South African type of electoral system, whereby it's like you just go and vote for a political party. If that party wins, the number of votes is turned into maybe a percentage, and then to say this political party, you've got 200 seats, and then the political party will then sit and look at the people that are going to be appointed. It's now going to be appointees. People are appointed now, not that they are voted for by the people. So I think that's the reason why we are having to say, Kuti, look at even last time when Fadzai Mahere stood, when she wanted to be an MP, she could not garner the votes, but she had everything that it took for her to be an MP. But because she did not come from a political party, she did not win. So it's all about the political system. And also to say that women do not support, it's like, in the political parties, they are the systems like the primary elections. You go and stand in a primary election with a man with resources and me not having anything. And our political systems, they are polarized, Yvonne. To say, Kuti, you have to transport the people that are supposed to vote you. You have to feed them, to give them lunch, because these I don't have that kind of money, but the one that I'm contesting with is a man. Maybe he's a businessman, or he's been in parliament since 2000. He's got resources. I don't have resources. So definitely, people, even including the women, they will rally behind that person who has given them transport. And me, because I don't have money to transport them, they will not vote for me. So that's why we are saying, Kuti, there has to be mainstreaming of gender in every sphere, so that it's better if women would contest each other, to reserve the constituencies. If maybe if let's say a constituency has got maybe a city has got maybe 12 constituencies, 6 for women, 6 for men, and then you let women contest each other on primary elections. That will be very fair. And at the end, you have a fair outcome, because you still have your 6 women, whether the one who contested will win and the other one will lose, but we still have a woman who will represent the part, other than to say the 12 constituencies women contest with men. Zvatinotoziva kuti women do not have resources. We all know that there is money that is needed. There are resources that are needed. You need to do your flyers. You need to do your posters. You need to have a campaign team. You need transport for that campaign team. You need allowances for that campaign team, and you don't have nothing. Remind me, hauna kana mari, hauna kana kobiri, and then you are made to contest with a powerful man.
Is
Comrade
Barbara
N?
still there?
Comrade N,
Yes,
please go ahead.
Yvonne, well, when it comes to proportional representation, because I am in diaspora, I like to really put the guilt out on diaspora people.
Right.
Because that is another proportion that is not represented in Zimbabwe. So many diaspora, and I am one of them. I pick up my phone, I look, and I'm like, what's happening down there in Zimbabwe? We crying every single day. And I'm like, yes, we're crying, but what are we doing? We are such intelligent women all over here in the diaspora. And I'm just like, we are so intelligent, Mazimba. Kuti dzokai kumba, people they don't want. That's the proportion of representation. What proportion of Zimbabwe is diaspora? Now we see we have things where it's just like, we know that there's 2 million votes that are already added. And I'm just like, it doesn't matter. When you are transparent, you get everybody to take part, because on a grand scale, there is nobody that can even rig. On a grand scale, there is nobody, because you'll get the media, you'll get the support, you'll get the sponsorship. For the first time, an African nation has almost 90% of people coming to vote. So this is a problem of Zimbabwe. Kuti wanu that have been left downstairs, those are the ones that have no voices. The majority have no voices. The ones that have voices are the ones that are sorted, they settled, they comfortable. And I'm like, but Zimbabwe, we have to wake up. We are suffering.
Right.
Suffering.
And you say something that is really quite fundamental. And I think Peter Mtizi comes in and says it's not about resources, Barbara. Even with resources, women still don't support each other. They want to be led by men on every platform, and that women need to deal with this self-hate. Do you think that women hate each other? They hate themselves?
I think for me there's a level that of where women do. It's not so much hate. It's more or less, it's like if girls grew up without any men. Let's just say girls group. You don't have any men in your household or anything like that. Girls grow up supporting each other. You might have your fights, but women grow up, they support each other. Then there's an element where what happens for women not to support each other? It comes with the element of the man. Because I've had loads of women that I've approached, intelligent women, and I said, would you like to take part in this? It would be lovely, it would be fantastic. But the moment it was spoken to the husband, no, I don't want you to take part in the politics, because our politics is not clean.
Right.
It's not clean, it's not transparent. Husbands are looking and they're like, my wife is taking risks with her life. And I can see this aspect, and I'm like, this is when I'm just like, yes, women, we have the ability, but we need the men to be like, get in there, do it. I will look after these kids. And I am telling you now, if you are afraid, I will get my brother, my cousin, my whoever. If you are going to go and do whatever campaigning you are doing, I am going to get my men friends, my male friends, to come and support you, so that nobody can trample on your rights to do what is right for our country. There are so many women like that, but we are stuck. Stuck because we need that encouragement. And I know a lot of men will be like, ladies, you don't need it. You don't need it. But we do, because we have been under the thumb for so long. Even as you see, our education, I've said, even our education, not proportional representation. So it's equal. There's no such thing as women do this to themselves. Yes, we do this to ourselves, but now is the time to be like, do you know what? Women, look at it truthfully. What have the men done?
Right. Thank you so much. So we're coming to you live on our Zimbabwe Daily platform, and this is Frank Talk. We're talking Constitutional Amendment number 2 with a special look at proportional representation. Can we ever achieve 50-50 gender parity in Zimbabwe's political landscape? Apparently, the argument is that because we have not achieved 50-50 gender parity in any aspect, politically, it will be very, very difficult. Join me after this short break. Welcome back on Zimbabwe Daily. This is Frank Talk, Constitutional Amendment number 2, proportional representation. Unfortunately, because of network, we've lost Comrade Tsenengame. We wanted to also hear the side of the men, but all the same, Tanaka is here. Tanaka, which way should we go? Is this proportional representation extension going to help?
Maybe before Tanaka comes in, there was a question for me there.
Yes, there was, Barbara. I am sorry to intrude on that.
Yes. What I wanted to tell. Hello.
Okay. Yes. We just wanted to go back to Peter Mtizi's comment, and Peter is saying that women have self-hate. It is not about resources, but it is about you not supporting each other. You would rather be led by a man. That is a summation of what Peter Mtizi said.
Yeah, no, that's his opinion. Yvonne, he's entitled to that, but I would want to disagree with him. The issue here, it's like I'm talking about the resources because I feel we have to contest, but the law itself, Yvonne, does not
Mm,
give room to that. The law is very clear. The law allows for governments, for political parties to observe or to give room to women, the proportional representation. It's lawful. It's not negotiated, Yvonne. I think
yeah, but then
we have
isn't
been quiet.
all
We have been
we
quiet
all
for a
go
long
and
time.
we all go and vote, Barbara. We all go and vote. So if I'm a woman and there's a woman on my ballot paper, but because they're not belonging to a certain political party, for example, or because I don't like her, pamakanditorera murume, or I don't like her because she I don't want her to be higher than me. Women are just not supporting each other. This is Peter Mtasa's argument that it's not about resources. Even if you were given all the resources that you need as women, you will just not support the next woman. Just like unorwadzirwa mai vanotengesa mavheji pamusika kuti vari kudya nenyama nhasi.
Yvonne, I think
Mm,
that one inotoda day rayo rega. It's a that's the gender, the gender issues. Because it's the once tikanzwisisa kuti our country, our nation is
mm,
patriarchal. Women have always been lagging behind because of
Yes.
culture, because of religion, and other norms. Eh? The
Mm-hmm.
way women were raised, Yvonne, women
Yes.
were raised in such a manner that men are the only ones that can lead. Men
mm,
can
Mm. Yes.
women we were takakudzwa in a way yekuzvishora kuti we don't have
Mm.
confidence in ourselves. It's only
Yes.
women that have come out to say, I want to be this, one confidence. Most women, they don't have confidence, and that's the reason why we keep on educating. The chinodikana is education. It's not that we hate each other. We love
right.
each
Mm.
other. Even apana vanhu vanowirirana like women. Look at what we do clubs. Look at what we do. Tinotamba rounds. Tinoenda kuchurch. Maorganize wana manyano.
Yes.
Why is it
Mm.
tinoita zvinhu zvedu tinobudirira tinotsigirana when we are women? The moment pangoita men, and it's those same men that will come bribe the women because women are poor, one poverty. They will take the
Okay.
bribe and do what those men want. We know. I've been in politics with Locus and Yvonne since 1999, and I've been observing all this. Sometimes women are they are abused, Yvonne,
Mm,
and because they are vulnerable. They don't have anything. Varume vanouya vachivakoksa handiri kuzwa vachiti
right.
don't vote for this. And also the other thing you will find kuti women will be told by men, this one is this woman cannot be a leader because ihure. And yet the woman haahuri ega, anohura nemurume. The same men
Right.
anenge achihura naye anoenda kunostand up, anovhoterwa, hazvitaurwi nezvazvo. So it's
Mm,
like here it's the women, we know, but zvichazopera zvavo in the end. But these are the issues that women are facing. The ground is not level, Yvonne. We are running a race with men wasina mabarriers anovadzivirira kuti wasvike kwaanoda. Yet women, we still have a lot of barriers pamusoro pedu. We still have
I
those
think.
sticky floors. We still have those glass ceilings ahead of us. So we cannot brush away those things. That's the reason why these protocols, these laws were promulgated, because it was seen, the researches were done, Yvonne, to say
Mm,
for a woman to be at par with men, there are a lot of things that has to be removed munzira make. There's a lot of affirmative action that has to happen even from the school. Like my colleague was saying, but when she
mm,
went to school, there were some subjects that were not there in a girls' school, but in the boys' school they were there. These are the
right.
disparities that were brought in by culture, by the patriarchal nature of our society. And these we cannot finish them. We cannot end them now, but there has to be measures to accommodate women, like this affirmative action, this gender mainstreaming. There has to be a way of letting women have a 50-50. Why do we want 50-50 equal representation? Because there won't be any sustainable development without women. That's the reason why this country is not moving, because women are not there.
Right. Wow, you've been very, very elaborate. And Elisha agrees with you. He says, I'm convinced that we'll never reach our goals if we don't also address the systematic way that women and girls are undervalued. Tanaka, I'm back at you.
All right,
Proportional
thank you.
representation. Has it done anything?
All right, thank you, Yvonne. I think I'm audible now. Hello.
Yes, Tanaka, you may go ahead.
Okay, so let me say the concept of proportional representation is a very broad phenomenon which cannot be defined or described based on a single view. However, in my research over the issue, I got to find out that there are basic principles which underlie the principle of proportional representation. And
Yes.
whenever we have to consider proportional representation in politics as a crucial phenomenon, we must not leave those crucial and basic basic principles. And let me say that proportional representation is most prevalent in, if not only in democratic nations, and we are privileged among other nations to claim to be a democratic nation. The issue whether we are democratic or we are not democratic is an issue for another day. But let's say the basic principles are defining proportional representation are that all voters deserve to be represented in our legislature and they deserve fair representation. However, I think that if we talk about proportional representation in our dictatorial democratic Zimbabwe, we must not leave out the population of our country, males and females. We must not leave the issue of gender in this discussion. In their numbers separately, that is to say, how many females and how many males we have in our country. And that is also to say, census counting is very crucial and fundamental thing to be done if we are to achieve proportional representation in our country.
Right.
Now, we must also consider age as it will help us in separating people in different groups that have been existing in our politics, in our political sphere. As to say, there are some groups which prove to be dominant over the others. Like we have got the youths and we have got the elderly people. So age is also a crucial phenomenon if we are to talk about proportional representation. We must not also neglect the issue of marginalized groups in our society. Unfortunately, we failed to have a great man in the house as he is experiencing challenges with this network. But
Yeah.
the disabled people of the society are also a marginalized group in terms of politics, and the women like Barbara and Anne were saying. Now, for the past 4 years, for the past 4 decades, have these groups been fully represented in the politics of our nation? My answer to that is no. I'm sure almost of all the groups are represented right now, and focusing on the youths. And also, if I get the chance, I will also get into the disabled, the persons living with disabilities. I'm also a child of a blind father. Now, our legislature is bicameral. That means it is made up of 2 houses, the National Assembly and the Senate. When it comes to the composition of the legislature, basing on the above mentioned various groups, it will be a misrepresentation of political facts if we regard our politics to be recognizing the phenomenon of proportional representation. However, basing on my analysis on the unproportional representation in the parliament, I've got the groups which are not being represented to blame, and I also have let me say I don't know who to blame about rigging in Zimbabwe. Let me say I'll put the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission in this issue, and I'll blame ZEC as the other let me say board which is causing for the lack of proportional representation in Zimbabwe. These groups, let me say the youth, and let me also put the women in that also in this also. These groups undermine themselves. It now seems as if anyone or only those who are rich have to be voted into office, and only those who are rich are capable of winning elections. That's a big no. That's not true. Doesn't mean that if I'm poor or I don't have funds, I can't win an election. So
okay, Tanaka, I will have to come in there. I think we're getting a little bit of a break from you. We can't fully hear some of your submissions, but I think from what I've captured, you were talking about basic principles for proportional representation and the need to look at some of the challenges that have been prevalent in our society, issues to do with dominant groups, issues to do with marginalized groups, and the fundamental things that needs to be done in terms of proportional representation. And the thing is, because it is constitutional, it has to be made to happen. So how is it going to happen? You talked about whether our country is a democracy is a debate of for another day. But I think that also hinges on the participation of women. I remember the last time we looked at how our politics is structured and how it is causing women to take a back seat in terms of participation. People have been asking, why do we not have a female vice president? Why do processes continue to drag as long as there is an opportunity to place a woman in position of leadership? What is the problem? Now, we want to wrap up this conversation because we could go on forever, but we want to then say, Senate is sitting on this document. It is definitely going to be, it is going to get the presidential assent as soon as it gets a nod. And once it is enacted, we can't really do much about it. But how can we take advantage of this extension to affirm the feet of the women in political spaces? I know Barbara and Nicole, you mentioned issues to do with making sure that women are in those spaces, in the commissions, in ZEC and stuff like that. But how do we then, because this is something that is going to happen whether we like it or not, so how do we leverage from this extension so that we have more women taking part in politics? I'll start with you, Comrade N.
Well, this is a fantastic, like a welcome to the poker game. As in, women, it's your chance. And I know it's just an extension, and it's a tiny little extension, but you know what? Even when you get a tiny little finger, take the hand. Go, take part, put yourselves into these positions. Don't think you can't, because you can. All it is just representation. You are representing not just yourself, but an aspect of your community, an aspect of your suffering. You're representing that as in, we don't want to go along this path anymore. And I think it comes down to voting, Yvonne, because my grandmother, she passed away. She was 84, but she had never voted. Never voted in Zimbabwe. Never. And I asked her why. I had an opportunity to speak with her before. And she said there was nobody worthy. And I said, but even when there's nobody worthy, put somebody. Isai Mumwe, put somebody that you're saying, this one's not worthy. Okay, who are you going to put there? Find that person and tell them, please come and represent us. But we find
Right.
it's all over. It's all over Zimbabwe. We need to vote. That's what we need to do. We need to register to vote and take this to the next level. It's an open platform for women.
Right. It's an open platform for women. Don't think you can't. You can. I've captured that. Leader Babs.
If you know what, Yvonne, I think the other reason why we are not having a vice president who is a female vice president is the lack of political will. When it was during Mugabe's era, we would think he tried by appointing Joyce Mujuru, and when Joyce Mujuru was fired, she was replaced by a man, which was very unfortunate. If you look at the cabinet itself, it has got 4 out of 24 ministers,
Right.
four female ministers out of 24, and we are short of 8. And yet there are protocols, there are these constitutions, there are, Zimbabwe is signatory to so many instruments that speaks to gender equality. The SDGs number 5 speaks to gender equality. This vision 2030 also speaks to gender equality. And we are very much worried to say, what kind of leaders do we have? We still have patriarchal leaders that are not even gender sensitive, that still do not value women. So as long as we don't have many men who are gender sensitive, as long as we don't have new men, we groom new men, we are going to have this problem. So I'm saying to women, we have to push where we are supposed to get where we are supposed to be protected by law. Let's use the law. I think the most body that is supposed to change is ZEC, Yvonne. ZEC must promulgate a law that says political parties must bring equal representation, a list of equal members of parliament, members or maybe councillors. A political party that does not bring a list that is balanced, it will be turned away. So we must start from there. We must see to it that we lobby that there is a clause in the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission to say the political parties must submit lists that are gender, that you've got a proportional representation. If it means having a zebra in parliamentary seats, let it be, just like the Senate. What they did with the Senate, why can't they do it with the constituencies? They must do the same so that women are accommodated.
Right. And Victor Chinonye comes through and says, patriarchy is in our bloodstream, and this alone is a big stumbling block towards the achievement of a 50-50 thingy. And Signor Uncle K. Vuligede, he says, I have a question. Is it possible to balance gender? And he came through to respond to that question by saying, I personally think it's a mission impossible. However, it's very possible, or rather, critically important to balance equal opportunities. Any comment on what our viewers have said?
Yes, I have one. I researched proportional representation, and straight away it came down, and I was just like, wow, if you actually research anything, it'll give you the exact thing that you need to actually be following. So it said Parliament's mission is to achieve an inclusive, gender balanced parliament. That's what Parliament should do. Inclusive, gender balanced parliament that draws upon the widest possible pools of talent, including men, women, disabled, equally incorporating their full range of diversity and experience. Missions to drive encouragement, inspiring, and supporting political engagement in that sphere. So we have all these that Parliament should do. But if we have the mindset, that's why Barbara was saying we need to cultivate these modern men, gender sensitive men. If we have men, even if it's men that have that mindset that this is what needs to take place, there will be no problems. But the problems we are having is, as it says, patriarchal. We have those men that are there, but patriarchal, don't be fooled. That's just a word. That's an excuse for any man to say, but patriarchy, patriarchy, no. It's a mindset. It's a
Right.
mindset, and easily you can read into mindsets and you can be like, oh, wow. If we looking at it sociologically, it should be represented. Women provide the vast diversity of any nation. We make children. We make children for the nations.
Right.
So please, that's where it comes from. Put the women in there. We represent that 80, even 90, 99 even percent for some women. They'll be like, my whole life has been 99% women, 1% men. We have those type of women. And it's
Right.
time that women, as I said, reclaim what is rightfully ours too. It's not just for men. It's for women too. And we need to encourage and motivate each other to do this, not just wait for government to do it. Because as we can see, they'll dangle a tiny shoelace and they'll say, women, you should be happy. But no, women, we should be happy, but we should be intelligent as well to be like, that's a short shoestring. But don't worry,
Right.
we have other
Right.
thoughts too.
So in cabinet, we have 4 out of 24 men. In parliament, we have a limited number of women. That means something needs to be done, and we need to clearly do something. 60
Oh, yes.
seats in the House of Assembly were given as a token, but have this achieved that which we want? This was a conversation coming to you from Zimbabwe Daily, Frank Talk with Yvonne, and Tanaka introducing the subject, calling on people to say, come, let's talk about this. Thank you so much, Tanaka, for coming up with this conversation. We would want to have a part 2 to this, because clearly there are a lot of issues that still needs to be tackled.
Okay, thank you, Yvonne. I really appreciate your effort. Regardless of the challenges we're facing, I think this discussion has been helpful to the citizens of Zimbabwe. But maybe before I go off, I just want to say, if we are to achieve proportional representation in Zimbabwe, we need to have let me say, firstly, we need a president who regard this to be an important phenomenon. When it comes to the appointment of a female vice president, it needs first to recognize that this a phenomenon of proportional representation has to be recognized. And then I think also instead of a member of parliament, debating on things which the rest of the nation is against, we need a house which begin to look into some issues like how can you say two like our constitution guarantees that only 2 disabled people can get into the parliament without being voted into office. So at least 2 disabled people enough to represent all the disabled people in Zimbabwe. And then again, we need also to revisit our laws. For instance, for one, we understand that for one to be in the parliament, he needs to be voted into office, and there have to be general elections which are held after every 5 years. But also, if you want to look at another way of entering into the parliament, we can enter into the parliament as a senate. Like I said, that the parliament is our legislature is bicameral. Consists of the National Assembly and also the Senate. But you find that only people above the age of 40 can only qualify to be senators. So this means that we can never have proportional representation when it comes to the youth, since our youth
in the Senate, yeah.
Hello.
Yes, I'm agreeing with you that you cannot have proportional representation for the youth in the Senate. Maybe we should push it through that as long as you're above 40, you shouldn't be found in the lower house, and maybe try your luck in the Senate. Then allow the younger people to occupy the spaces of the lower house. Yeah, but you can finalize so that we quickly wrap this up.
Yes, and also we need to uh, have youths and disabled people and women with a different mindset who take the lead in taking these positions. We cannot sit and relax because we know that the game is tough. Our system is patriarchal, so we sit back and relax and leave these old men taking the lead. We now need to have the youth who can take the lead, uh, who have a different mindset, and who can tell themselves that yes, we can do this thing. We also need women who can take the lead in these leadership positions. We also need disabled people who take also the lead in these um, leadership positions. And also, I don't know if it is going to be an achievable thing, but I think the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission has to revise the way it does its things. It has to really work on reducing um, uh, the effect of rigging when it comes to the issue of proportional representation. We find out that most of us are now sort of like acting reluctant in getting into politics, knowing that we are entering into a game where we already know the outcome. Yeah.
Right.
And since our system is associated with rigging and political violence, so I think we also have to look into the Electoral Commission, and if they can, they need to work on bringing sanity to the commission. That's what I can say.
Excellent, Tanaka. Thank you so much. Indeed, for us to achieve 50-50 gender parity, we need to work on the systems that either support or stop that from happening. This has been Frank Talk. We're talking constitutional amendment number 2, proportional representation. Thank you so much, Leader Barbara from the MDC Alliance Women's Assembly, for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you so much, Yvonne, for this powerful platform. And maybe I would want to end by saying that gender equality or gender parity cannot be fixed by reserving seats for women. It has
Right.
to be, it will be only achieved when we start implementing the laws, when we start considering affirmative action, or maybe considering mainstreaming agenda in all the activities, the programs, the positions, public positions. That's when we are going to achieve gender equality. And I think we will reach there one day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Leader Babs. Thank you, our ZPP spokesperson, Comrade Mary Aquila Langeveld, for joining us today.
You have actually mentioned, pronounced my second name fantastically. Friends of mine were like, we have to try and you have to educate us how to do it. I said, look, there's Yvonne. I don't even have to tell her. Well, for me, Tanaka has brought us together really fantastically. And really, this is what we need our government to be presenting on live talks, like even TED Talks, discussions of what they can do to change, the Constitution. But we don't have men that are like that. So even equally as there are women that need to be motivated into the politics, we also want to motivate more Tanakas, more Tongais, more Godfreys to be like, yes, we've seen, but we need to change things. Life is ever evolving, and we need to be up to date with what's evolving outside our sphere. That's why Zimbabwe, we're stuck down at the bottom. I'm like, globally, they're looking at us like you were once the bread basket, now you are what? And this is why I say Zimbabwe, we have all the resources. We have everything. What don't we have the right mindset? We need to engage ourselves. So thank you, Tanaka. Thank you, Yvonne. This has been just a fantastic, fantastic day.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming through. And thank you, our viewers, for your comments. I am so loving some of your comments that you have sent through. I just want to read the last few comments that some of you have sent before we close this conversation. I'll ask my team to just display some of those comments that have come through. Senior or Uncle Kay, you say, as a cultural activist and founding people of Zimbabwe Culture and Culture Protection Trust, I have mixed views about the issue. I would love to add my view in just a few words. Okay. Uncle Signoro, I think what I'm going to do is to give you that opportunity to also come on the platform and be part of our panelists so that you can really tell us a little bit more about the cultural and heritage aspects that concerns issues to do with gender. Elastos Mukoki, you say 50-50. Aite hama. Kubva kune vekutanga hazvina kumbobvira zvaita. Imwe mitemo inounza kusagadzikana kwenyika. I am not into politics, but generally that's not it. I don't know how women getting into positions of power will cause kusagadzikana, but that is your view. Thank you so much. Men and women must be encouraged to respect one another. Everything else will fall into place. I agree with Signor there. Indeed, we need to place each other in our correct positions and things will flow. Okay, so those seem to be the only comments that my team could salvage from the contributions. Thank you so much, Zimbabwe, for joining me on Zimbabwe Daily. My name is Yvonne Muchaka. This has been a very interesting discussion. Let's continue this conversation as we strive to bring you the conversations that matter. Take care of yourselves. Today is Friday. Tomorrow is Workers' Day. Let us have fun. Let us have a good life. God bless you and enjoy the rest of your day. Happy weekend.